What is going on? You are listening to Tags Podcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 728. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm really well. How are you?
Really good. Thank you so much. Doing really well. Joining us, of course, as well, is the lovely, talented with his brand new EP, Cody Maurice Doggett. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. Just over here being a thing of beauty.
I love it. That's the title of your new EP. Very cool. Yes. Available wherever you get it. We are going to be live this Thursday, January 22nd, correct? At 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I will put the link in tagspodcast.com on our Patreon page and, of course, our socials as well. Join us for a listening party to hear Cody Maurice's brand new EP, Thing of Beauty. And he's going to be talking about a lot of the tracks. So join us this Thursday, January 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we'll give the link wherever you get the show or in show notes, of course, as well.
Perfect. Okay. I can't wait.
Me as well. Okay. And Jeremy, you've heard it, yes?
Yes, I love it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Nice. Okay, good. Well, let's get started. And, it's still the beginning of the year, and I couldn't help but take this first part of the episode, our sex talk today, to talk about an article I was reading by Instinct magazine, and it was why gay dating feels so hard and why it's not the apps or your abs. And I had to read this whole article to find out what they were really talking about. We're calling this episode Why Dating Isn't the Problem, Your Nervous System Is. And it was stemmed from this article that really does a really good deep dive on the apps, why us as gay men have a particularly more challenging time sometimes to date and find. And then it was also stemmed from a Reddit that I read called Dating is So Frustrating. They wrote in this one, I've been putting myself out there consistently, apps, events, but nothing has worked for me so far. I'm 32 and never been in a relationship. And whenever I like a guy, I stop making myself go on dates with guys I don't like. It always ends badly for me and for them. And in this article, they say things like app fatigue, dating advice for men, or just the truth we'd rather not say out loud. And they say things from actual therapists that many gay men are taking things like from our nervous system, things like rejection. For a lot of gay men, rejection doesn't just hurt, it echoes, it taps to old memories of when we've been singled out, shamed, or made to feel disposable. That's why a delayed text can spiral into a full narrative. That's why excitement can feel suspicious. That's why pulling away sometimes feels safer than being wanted. Queer relationships don't come with a preset script, and that's the gift. We just have to kind of tune into that. And I think we've said it before on other shows that in many ways, it's kind of our superpowers being queer. So in this, I wanted to deep dive a little bit more into why does dating feel so much harder than it should? And I wanted to ask the general question, have you ever felt simultaneously craving connection and bracing for rejection at the same time, Jeremy?
Yeah, I would say I think I took a long time to be open to dating just because of being afraid of rejection, and then also just not necessarily being ready with myself and comfortable with myself. I think when you're dating, you do have to be open to making yourself vulnerable and letting your walls and barriers down. And I think that is a difficult point to get to. And I think I always reference communication, because I feel like the more you talk and just get yourself out there, and then also are open to new ways of thinking and just trying to stay open-minded and optimistic, I think it's really beneficial to yourself and any sort of relationship that you're trying to embark on.
I agree with that too. And like for me, obviously took a lot longer to find my relationship that's lasting here and as a marriage. But I can remember going on speed dating, and all of the article does a really good job of talking about how our central nervous system really taps into all kinds of things, not just motor perception, but it taps into a cellular level, and it taps into things that sense memory and things that you dealt with. If you don't deal with those things growing up, those things as queer people, many of us do, hiding who we really are, they will show up in your dating life and ultimately your relationship. And I had to do a lot of work on that. And I remember meeting somebody that I did click with and going on this date, and we had a great time, a really great date. I think we went on 2 dates actually, and then he was going to go away on a cruise, but we were really talking about as soon as he gets back. I remember having so much anxiety that whole period that he was gone. And when you know it, he said he was going to text me when he got back, and then he never did, and I was crushed. And I sort of almost predicted that too, because I kept thinking this is too good to be true. And wouldn't you know it, I put that in the universe, or maybe something was going on in his life. But instead of just moving on with my life in that 2 week period, I put all my eggs in that basket. And then, of course, when I didn't hear from him, when he ghosted me, I, of course, said, see, all men are crap. And I put that out there, and I think that's what I got back in return. And since then, I've had to do a lot more work on myself. But when you think of this, Cody, have you ever felt simultaneously craving that connection, but also bracing for that rejection at the same time?
Oh, definitely. I think it's a way of protecting yourself because everybody, well, me personally, I can only speak for myself. I feel like I really want that connection. Well, in the past, because right now she's just living her her
Right,
life
right.
and getting her life right now. But in the past, I have really wanted that connection and really wanted to date someone and be in love and all those types of things. And in order for me not to fall completely and to not necessarily have those feelings for somebody that could ultimately ghost me, which is likely to happen, and sometimes it happens. But in order for me to protect myself from that, I would put up this wall. So you can't have it both ways, but you do. I think personally, it's okay to kind of want to protect yourself a little bit until you see where this person's true intentions lie. So I really think it's a balancing act. You have to be open and be protective of yourself at the same time.
You do. And I think there's a healthy dose of that. I think this article is going even deeper onto our past and looking at that with somewhat of a microscope, which
Oh,
can be a
definitely.
good thing too. And then if you move into app culture, which let's be honest, that's where, I mean, we talk about putting yourself out there more if you can, if you live in bigger cities, and doing activities that you like and finding groups that hopefully you'll meet people with like-minded interests. But the reality is the apps are here to stay. They're not going away anytime soon. Do we think that apps reward a detached attitude over being vulnerable, Jeremy?
I would say so. I mean, I think that a lot of the things that happen through apps are really topical and have not a lot of emotion to deal with. And I feel like they're also very um, surface level and not anything that like is a deep dive into, I guess, personality and character traits and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely do as well. On the other hand, I think if you start talking to somebody on the apps that you think you're somewhat interested, I've always been, I have certain friends where they tell me they don't want endless chit chat on there, and they will put it out there, let's meet for a drink. And I think if you start connecting with somebody and you put that out there, let's meet up for a quick drink, a coffee, a walk in the park, that you can then take it from, otherwise it's like this numbers game, and you can just endlessly, it's too easy, I think, to kind of swipe away and be detached. And but if you quickly put it out there that in your profile you want to meet somebody quickly, whatever, then you can maybe turn on the more vulnerable side and give this person a chance, even if it is for a quick shot of espresso, Cody.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it's really easy for us to get detached on the apps because there's just so many options out there. And when you have all of those people that could potentially be your next match, it's hard to focus on one person. So I feel like when you are juggling too many balls, figuratively, then I think that there is opportunity for you to miss a ball. So yeah, you know what? And again, it's a balancing act. You can focus on a couple people, maybe two or three, and then see where all of that leads. But there's no right answer at the end of the day. But I think that you do your best to focus on people in smaller packages and see where it can go.
Right. And then this article does a really good job. I will post this because it does talk to a lot of therapists and has us look at, like I said, the whole thing about our central nervous system on how us as gay men need to really look at how we are different from our straight counterparts and how we approach dating, and how many of us, if we came out a little bit later, and even later can mean your early 20s, because that's when you felt freer to find you weren't hiding who you were. And if you just think of that alone, where our counterparts didn't have to hide behind anything, that should tell you something. And I really like what this does. I'll post this on tagspodcast.com. But one of the things it does, it says what queer dating can feel like. There's that easy chemistry that we all feel at times, which is amazing. But with that comes spikes of fear and overthinking text. So let's just say you meet somebody and you maybe put too much in the basket of, oh my gosh, he's starting to text me. But your fear and overthinking, overreading their text can really play into it. And I have certainly been guilty of that, particularly because I don't like texting that much. I've read way too far into things. Can you relate to that, Jeremy, at all?
Oh, of course. And I think that you can easily take text out of context and think like someone's not that into you, and they could really be. And then vice versa, it could be like they're not on the same page and not as into you as you thought that they were. So I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It could go both ways. I think it's also on a case-by-case basis, because I feel like it depends on how well the person expresses their feelings. And then also just text message, they could be so much better in person than through text message, or the opposite. So it really just depends on like the dynamic.
Yeah, I really think what this is saying a lot too is in those early, okay, you're past the point of you met up with them or you're communicating with them. You have their phone number, and it can be an exciting period, but you really also, I think, at times need to give it a grain of salt and keep working other people at the same time, because even if they are interested in, you don't know where they're at in their life right now. So you could be texting somebody like a Cody, we'll get to you in a second here, who you might be into them, but I might be into you, like dating you right now, but you're not in that mode right now. And I could be overreading things like, yeah, you might want to get together with me, but you're just not on that same level playing field yet. And I
don't
think
want a boyfriend.
You don't want a boyfriend. But what if I didn't know that? And I'm reading, well, he gave me his number. We're texting. We have such great chemistry. And I'm going between fear and overthinking what you're texting me.
Yeah. That's part of the game. I think for me personally,
and see, it's the fact that you said a game. It's like, does it have to be a game?
I use that metaphorically. It's a metaphorical game. Yeah. But for me personally, when I am texting somebody, I don't immediately tell them I'm not looking for a boyfriend. I feel like that would be a little bit, I don't know, rude or kind of standoffish. But definitely, if we go on a date, then it will come up. And it's something that I tell people like pretty immediately when we go on a date. So I totally get that. I have made up whole novels off of one hello in a text message. So I can't judge anybody for doing any of that. But I feel like me being kind of detached in all of this has really helped me discern when people are interested versus when they are not interested. I feel like for me, because I can kind of step back a little bit, and I think maybe that's the solution, I'm able to gauge a person's level of interest. Like, I also, because I am the type of person who needs over communication, that like, if you're not giving that to me via text or when we're in person, because like Jeremy said, maybe they are better in person than they are on text, and I'm willing to give somebody a chance. If you are not able to communicate with me in those two instances, then I'm kind of just going to cut it, because I dealt with that before, and it's a no-go for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well stated. Yeah. I mean, I think, and then there's this idea where you're feeling activated by a chemical thing you're feeling with somebody instead of calm and curious when things are actually going well. And that's where I think take it, things like I'm going to tell you about my friend's morning meditations that really set your central nervous system in play in a little bit here, to really take stock of that. And I don't know that you have to do a deep analysis of yourself on your childhood and where you're at, but if you're feeling overly anxious in those early dates with somebody, and I think it's normal and it's healthy to feel excited when you meet somebody. But on the same hand, you can also be messaging somebody back and forth forever without feeling a real connection. I mean, Jeremy, those two things, one of them you're just going back and forth, but there's nothing really happening connection wise. And do you even want to meet? And then there's the other one where you need to really just kind of calm down. What do you say to that?
I think it's hard to control that, to be honest. I think a lot of times it's easier said than done. And I think it's very easy at the early stages to be in your head. So I think that just spending more time with the person does give you the opportunity to see if you could see it lasting longer, or if it just sizzles out and it becomes like either an acquaintance or a friendship or neither.
Yeah. I mean, Cody, what is your advice when you are feeling that? I feel like for me, it's put yourself out there a little bit more with other people. If that person really is special and the chemistry really is that strong, then they'll come to the front of the line. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a chemistry junkie. Like, if I don't feel that immediate spark, then I will very easily like count somebody out. But I've learned to like fight that, because I do know that just because that's not there in the first 5 minutes, that it can't evolve into something that's great. And you never know what can happen when you meet someone and you actually build a relationship with them. So I think that both are valid. I think that if you take into account how they're treating you, that's the most important thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It is tough because we're fighting hormones, we're fighting the excitement that you're feeling with somebody chemically. I mean, I remember the first date I think I mentioned on this show before with Diego lasted hours and hours. I think it was like 12 hours. We went driving on this hike. We went to a winery. He then said, "Do you want to go to Asbury Park?" I had never been there. And I'm like, "Do we have enough time to get there?" He's like, "Oh, it's a 2 hour drive." I'm like, "A 2 hour drive? Okay." We went, and it went so amazing. I remember coming back. I think you were staying at my place, Cody,
Maybe,
and I remember
probably.
telling you all about it.
Yeah.
And that I just spent all these hours. But then afterwards, you see, you never know where someone's really at. And
Yeah.
it didn't go, I was thinking, oh, of course, this is in the bag. And it wasn't for a while. I had to really fight for it. And there was other people involved, and we just had to kind of find our way. And I'm so glad I found a way to kind of manage it, but I did numbers in my head for sure for a while there, and it wasn't always fun. But here we are, and married, and it's in the bag. But yeah, it was not easy. So I do feel that you do need tools in your bag, though, to help your nervous system out. Well, the article also points out that apps aren't the evil one necessarily, but they can amplify emotional disengagement by design, prioritizing quantity, novelty, and quick hits of attention over depth. Endless profiles, decision paralysis, things like swipe interfaces can train people to value looks more than connection. That's a biggie, that one, where I think you don't. This is why I've said before in the past that, yeah, I mean, people can look really good in their profile pics. I'm maybe because I've always worked in audio and radio and podcasting. I need to hear someone's voice and see the way they interact. And I'm a 3D person, and I can't just look at somebody on paper. And for me, that was always really important to me. But Jeremy, what do you think about the endless swiping and the looks aspect of it?
I definitely think it gets old quick. And I do think that the the talking online does need like a cap at some point where you're like ready to meet or willing to meet, just because that the bond that you strike in person is not comparable to what you get on an app. And I feel like the app, you could really spend lots and lots of time just not really interacting in a healthy way, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think eventually you need to, like, obviously with my boyfriend, I took a really long time to end up meeting up, but I did it for when I was ready.
Right.
And I'm glad that I waited the time that I did, but made the decision to meet in person.
Yeah. Yeah. You took it. I mean, taking your time. I'm glad he waited and was patient.
But
But
it
yeah,
was the last time he was going to ask, so I'm glad that I acted on that.
I love it. What do you think, Cody, about the one person looking better than the next and what we value, and in terms of what people have on their profile more than
Well,
maybe just in person?
yeah. Well, I'm the type of person, like, if I'm not really attracted to you, and that it's like a huge spectrum of people that I'm attracted to. So yes, looks are important to me, but it's just that if I'm going to be in a relationship with you, I have to be attracted to you. So that is like the first thing that you see. That's what you judge your first initial judgment off of. But when it comes to meeting in person and actually making sure that you're compatible, that they have something to say, that you are aligned in so many different ways, I think that's super important, even more important than looks. But I feel like looks is the first hump you have to get over. So yeah, looks are important, but what's inside is more important, if you ask me. So, and you can only get that if you actually connect with somebody and talk to them. So, yeah, I don't put too much stock in looks, but I definitely have to be attracted to someone.
Absolutely, yes. You have to have some chemistry, some attraction to begin
Yeah.
with to make that spark going, and then we'll go see where it goes from there. This next part is really interesting because it's entitled "Where Real Healing Happens." They talk about this on the article. It's kind of the deeper message of this article. The patterns of avoidance and fear often come from early experiences. So things like internalized shame, rejection, being treated as a problem. And that really stuck for me when I read the article, because then I separately read this Reddit where a 50-year-old is recently starting to date, and he was finding it challenging dating people that were younger than him. Like, they weren't on the same page because there were some red flags. And a lot of the red flags had to do with just simply he's at a different point in his life he's dealt with a lot of issues that have come up. Now, obviously, everybody ages differently, especially in the queer community, but that one really struck me, that if you don't deal with some of your internalized problems from early on, for me, I did meet my partner in my 50s, and I did have to do a lot of work on myself. I was also happy being single too, so I had a lot of wild oats to sow as well. But things like internalized shame and rejection, I mean, I don't think you could be with somebody if you're clearly out there open with your sexuality and somebody isn't, that could be a major problem, and how you deal with yourself. And I mean, what practices help people date more intentionally, Jeremy? Do you think it's therapy, supportive friends, things like boundaries? And what would be your advice on how people date more intentionally?
I really think that it is a culmination of all of those things. So I do think that sometimes you like, I would use myself for example. I don't know if I've worked through all of my family issues and drama,
And
but
that's okay,
I, I,
yeah.
I am able to talk it through and realize that I should consider professional help when it comes to it. And that's something that I talk about with my partner. And I think once I have worked through it, it will be leaps and bounds for just our relationship in general. But I think the first step is really being able to say it out loud and admit that. So I think that there's a culmination of supportive friends and family and being comfortable with your own sexuality and being comfortable with being seen just in public with your significant other or someone that you're interested in dating, and also being able to look inward and make sure that maybe you're not giving your best self, but you're trying to give the best version that you can, and that you're always a work in progress.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think that's so key, that nobody's saying you have to be, I mean, hopefully, you're always working on yourself in some way, shape, or form. But I do think there are things that can help dating more intentionally, Cody. And if you had to say, if it's therapy, supportive friends, or just things like boundaries that are important to you, what would you say?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to kind of piggyback off what Jeremy said, because just like, and this is going to be a rough like comparison, just like once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. Once you have these things ingrained in your nervous system, they're always going to pop back up. I think the work that we have to do in order to overcome them is recognizing them and break them up once they do arise.
Mhm.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted to put that in there. But I think as far as dating intentionally, I think that first you have to get clear on what you want as far as dating is concerned, because it's easy to get caught up in the apps and really just distracted by all the things that are on there. But once you say to yourself, okay, I am in it to get a boyfriend, therapy helps, boundaries help, all of that helps, but you have to actually have like purpose as far as that's concerned, and say, oh, this is something that I really want for my life. I want to have a partner, I want to have this, I want to have that, and really get intentional and clear about what it is you want.
I love that. And I just did, apparently, we are in a 2-week period of a new moon, a new
Ooh.
Venus moon going through
Ooh.
Pluto in the next 2 weeks. And there's somebody I follow on, message me. I'll give her my handle at the end of who this person is. And she had a thing that you could do where you, not on a piece of paper with a pencil, and she said use always, she wants it with wood, always choose wood. And I wrote
Oh,
all the
I hear
things,
that.
yeah, right, all the things on a piece of paper, and I sealed it up on the things. And you had to talk to yourself as if things have already happened. You had to send an end date on that, so you put that at the top, and then you write down the things, how you feel when these achievements happen. It could be love, it could, and then I sealed it up and I put it away. And so, because I'm writing that waves, but setting intentions for what you want is always a good thing. Writing them down in pencil, if you can, is always a good one too. And it puts it out into the universe as well. You have to, at the end of this exercise too, you had to put it out to the universe or God or whomever you believe in, and sign it and say that you will make this happen during this period by my date. So I love that. Lastly, if we can just wrap this up, the goal isn't perfect dates or viral worthy chemistry. It's really consistency, clarity, and emotional safety when we're going on these dates, according to this article. And that's what I really got out of it. But if I had to ask, How can you build confidence even when on a date, when a date doesn't go that well, but you're putting yourself out there, Jeremy? How can you still build confidence?
I think that being your best self and being true and honest really helps you stay confident. Like I just think that at the end of the day, you can't help or force someone to like you. So what you bring to the table is being the best representation of you, and that's all that you can do. And I think that just keeping that in mind and having confidence in that alone helps you, and you benefit from that regardless of if the person is receptive of it or not.
I love that. Yeah. Staying true to yourself and knowing that there is, I mean, you're doing the work on yourself and you're getting yourself out there. I love that. What do you say to that, Cody?
Yeah, I totally agree. You can't control other people. So at the end of the day, all you can do is look at yourself and continue to stay open and yeah, just do the work.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Really quick, I just want to direct you to a friend of ours, a friend of the show. He's been a co-host on this show. Sebastian Lacaze has a really amazing website. The portal is you.com. And in there is morning ceremonies and evening ceremonies. And they are designed to get you centered for the day and before you go to bed. And they are free. And so you can download them. The portal is you.com. The morning ceremonies I've been doing, and it's just a morning simple meditation. You need to get up just like 5 minutes earlier to do these. But when we talk about things like central nervous system and setting that on at least on a calm tone for the day and setting, I would add even intention of what you want the day to look like, can really put you on a good path. And the portal is you.com, and get those free opening ceremonies and end of day ceremonies. They are really been helpful to me. If this conversation is hitting close to home, if dating feels confusing, exhausting, or like you keep repeating the same patterns, you're not broken. Connect and Confidence is a space created for queer people who want more than swipes and situationships. Inside the app, you'll find guided audio, mindset tools, and intentional prompts designed to help you build confidence, understand your attachment patterns, and create connections that actually feel safe and aligned. Because the goal isn't chasing chemistry, it's building something that lasts. You can learn more and join us at Connect and Confidence. Go to Studio.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Hi friends, we are Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Rubin Sowers, a married dad of 2.
And I am Judson Morrow, a resident daddy. Join us for frank conversations and personal stories of sex, love, relationships, parenthood, daddyhood, addiction, and so much more.
Find us on Instagram at Dads and Daddies Pod and listen to new episodes every Tuesday on all major platforms.
.com/Steve V/connect. That's studio.com/Steve V/connect. Okay, well, let's get into hot topics because there are so many to get into, and we have to. I mean, what happened? Nicki Minaj is on a rampage. Recently, she directed it at none other than Don Lemon. I know you heard about this, Cody. Nicki Minaj sparked backlash after directing a homophobic slur at Don Lemon in a response to his coverage of a disrupted church service in Minnesota. And we all know what's happened in Minnesota as of recently. ICE is there. That sadly we lost Renee Good. She lost her life in what many believe was she was just simply protesting. We're not going to litigate that right now, but he was there really just covering a church service. And when one of the sermons was related to an ICE member, people were there protesting, and he was just covering it. Nicki Minaj decided to insert herself and say that Don's cock-sucking lemon is disgusting was one of hers. She said, "How dare you? I want that thug in jail." And she went on to say he would never do that to any other religion, lock him up. She's been just like, I don't understand. He is a journalist and he was covering it. What did you, when you heard about this, Jeremy, what were your thoughts? And about Nicki Minaj?
I mean, obviously I'm not like her biggest fan as of lately, and I just think it's ignorant of her and she should stay out of it. And I just don't believe that as I don't really want to know any musicians' political views, to be honest. And I
What about
don't
mine?
I don't think it's I just don't think it's smart for anyone that's in a public eye or trying to be in the public eye to release that unless they want the backlash of what that entails. And I don't think that it was smart of her to go on Erica Kirk's show. I don't think that it's smart of her to speak on anything to do with Don Lemon or religion. And I mean, I like Don Lemon. I think he's funny, and I enjoy watching him when he was doing his street interviews around New York City and asking people just political questions. But yeah, I think that she has already needed to take several seats, and she needs to just stay in her lane and shut it.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think when it gets really nasty is when you say, everybody, I think, has the right to use their platform. I know a lot of people, celebrities, were using their platform on the red carpet in particular, not De Niro when he said, "Fuck you, Trump," at the Golden Globes, but many of them were using it on the red carpet. I'm thinking of a lot of them that said, "I know a lot of people don't like to hear celebrities speak about politics, but a lot of them feel that we are in a certain period." Yeah, I think you will have to, you might lose some followers and people might not go to your movies if you do speak your mind. And I think a lot of celebrities and musicians and so forth right now feel like we are in a turning point right now. I think she is going so low right now. I mean, the first line of it, Don cock-sucking lemon is disgusting.
Crazy.
That's not education, giving your opinion on something. That's just lowballing it in every way, shape, and form, and is nasty and uncalled for. And if you have a point on why Don Lemon shouldn't be covering this, which many other journalists were covering, then speak on that. But it just sounds ignorant when you speak like that, and nobody's going to listen to you. And according to Forbes magazine, she's lost up to, I think it's like 2 million followers right now. Cody?
Good for her. I'm glad she's lost 2 million followers. Jeremy, I kind of disagree with you because I feel like if you have this kind of platform, maybe Nicki Minaj should not be sharing, because as Don Lemon pointed out in his rebuttal to what she said, he
has a really good rebuttal, by the way.
It's crazy. I love every second of it. I watched it like 3 times. And he basically says that she's dumb. She don't know what's going on and she needs to stay in her lane. Yeah, exactly. And he also said that she is a supporter of pedophiles and sex offenders. So she should be deported because she's not here legally. So yeah, he went really hard, and I got really excited when I saw it. But I, I think she has the right to speak her mind. I'm glad that I do know this about her, so that I will definitely not be supporting her in the future, because she probably had all these thoughts way back in the day, and we just didn't know it because she wasn't saying it. So I am kind of glad that she said this.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you want to respond back to that, Jeremy?
No, I mean, I think she's ignorant for like everything that she's said of late, and I think she'll just continue to lose her fans and followers.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, well, in Florida, there is a gubernatorial candidate that is proposing basically what would be a steep, quote unquote, sin tax, not syntax, SIN, a sin tax on OnlyFans creators if he were to win. Now, it's a big move if he will win, but a move he says would deter people from joining the platform. And one of the app's highest earning creators who lives in Florida is pushing back. A Republican gubernatorial candidate, James Fishback, said that if he is elected governor, he will push for a 50% tax on income earned by OnlyFans creators in Florida. If you know anything about Florida, it has a huge percentage of the highest creators of OnlyFans that make their home residency in OnlyFans. He's obviously, well, not obviously, but I saw a different article on him already, and he's very all about religion and thinks that women need to do things like become nurses, and dare I say, and he said it several times in the interview that I saw, stay-at-home moms.
Yep.
And he's also against men as well, but he thinks that it's a sin. There's nothing right with that. Now, you can think what you want about, because recently there's a separate article on visas for people that have OnlyFans that have been granted under this administration for people that are content creators. And many of those content creators were OnlyFans creators that have gotten visas over what is going on with ICE and people being deported. They've actually gotten these visas to work here in the United States, if you can believe it, with OnlyFans. Now, you can debate that and why that might be wrong and why it's not giving anything to why they shouldn't be granted these visas when we're sending people home, i.e. black and brown people, and targeting them. That's a whole separate. But here is this potential governor of Florida that would tax OnlyFans creators 50% tax. And then, but when posed with the question in the interview that I saw, well, what if they're just going to leave? And he said, good, I want them to leave, because then, but what do you say to this, Jeremy?
I mean, I think it's kind of stupid, and I don't necessarily find that it will work to their benefit. I think that the people that take it on as a job, it is really a real job for them to do, and they're constantly posting and creating new content and filming and editing and all of that. And I don't know. I don't see it working to the benefit of actually following through and working well for them. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this is your platform, Cody, and you're using it as a quote unquote sin tax, and Fishback argues that the tax revenue that he would gain by charging 50% tax on people with accounts on OnlyFans would be used to raise teacher pay and improve things like school lunches. First off, if you could even make this happen, because then you're targeting legitimate work that's legal work and putting it on one type of earner, OnlyFans models, that now they are now responsible for paying for things like, I mean, it's not going to, I mean, any way, shape, or form. Is this just hoopla that he's just trying to gain, attention by this? And why is he putting all this on that?
Yeah, I think so because he's trying to. I feel like he's trying to actually activate those religious right people down there in Florida because syntax is kind of wild. Like,
Yeah.
who and where are we as far as like a separation of church and state? That's just ridiculous to me that we have a syntax on a completely legitimate job that's out there in the world. And it's really stupid, honestly, because I feel like those OnlyFans creators, they don't even have to move. All they have to do is change their state of residence to some other place, and then they can get. That's like a loophole that I guess this idiot is not thinking about. Because I speaking personally, I lived in New Jersey for 4 years, and my address of my permanent residence was in Virginia. So it can happen, and I don't know if he's thinking about that.
Yeah, and staying on ice, Jeffree Star, the famed drag queen, makeup artist, TikTok is
She's not
in
a
a
drag queen. She's a busted queen, honey.
controversial influencer has cracked jokes about deportation and detention centers in a recent TikTok live stream, and it sparked a lot of backlash from everybody, but none other from Paris. Excuse me. Why do I always say that? From what's his name? Perez. Sorry, let me do this again.
Okay.
It sparked a lot of backlash, and the one that actually called him out was Perez Hilton, of all people. When on Monday, Star went live with two influencers, and at one point, a young Latino man in a room with a red light joined the live stream and interacted with the TikTokers before leaving abruptly. It seemed like one of the creators wanted to engage in an exchange before the young man left, and this is when Star said, I'm just surprised they have red lights in the deportation centers, which seemed to stun the other influencers who were on the live stream with him. And then he also went on to say things when he came. I know what Jessica's thinking. She said, I'm calling ICE. And that has not gone well for him at all. Are you aware, Jeremy, of Jeffree Star, and what do you think of this latest controversy he's embroiled in?
I think it's just like Nicki Minaj's. It's ridiculous, and they're like a match made in heaven at this point.
Yeah.
I am
Deport them both.
I'm not a very big fan of Jeffree Star. I think he's really annoying, and I don't value any of the things that he makes points to say or talk about.
Yeah, I would agree on this one too. We got to hear from you, Cody.
Girl, this is too much. I haven't listened to anything that Jeffrey's said since for at least 5 years because it's just always the same rhetoric. It's always just so hateful and negative, and it's uninformed also. So I'm trying to separate myself from that. So him and Nicki Minaj, they are immediately out of my whole atmosphere.
Yeah. Let's stay on you, Cody, because the Traitors, which I know you're watching religiously, Colton Underwood, who we've talked on this show, Underwood, who, as you remember, he was on The Bachelor, correct? And
yes, he was.
For years, and he ultimately found a woman and then came out. Well, now he's with a partner, I think married, and aren't they having a child as well? He's run the gamut, but he is, his card for reality TV is still full, as he's a current member on The Traitors, which everybody seems to be watching but me. I don't know about you, Jeremy, but maybe I'll watch it. But are you watching it?
No, I mean, not really. I saw it. It was on in the background after I watched Housewives, and I saw some of it just listening to Lisa Rinna and some of the others. But yeah, I'm not that interested.
I know. It's on the background, Cody. I love it. Well, on a recent episode, Colton said, I'm tired of being a punching bag. What was he talking about? Well, it was Michael Rapaport, who usually, whenever I've seen Michael Rapaport on Watch What Happens Live, he's really funny. He knows everything about Bravo. He is far from homophobic in my mind at all. But it got a little tense. Might you explain, or do you want me to explain?
Explain. I'm curious what you're talking about. I'm not 100% sure because they had a thing at the round table. I just caught up like yesterday. They had
Basically,
a
Michael
whole.
Rappaport was accusing Colton of "you're the traitor. You've been
Oh,
holding these lies for
yup, that.
years."
Yep.
And he went
Oh,
and he
Lord.
really went on and on when either a good play on a good chess play, Colton said, "I'm tired of being the punching bag on this." And everybody kind of came to his defense, meaning he thought that Michael was referring to him not coming out as gay for all of these years. And I think what Michael was talking about was fooling people, because really what he did do, in my mind, is Colton Underwood did fool us all when he was on The Bachelor and went on reality TV to get a paycheck out of it. So I don't know that it was that underhanded. And I think this game is all about calling people out. I think Michael Rappaport is now the bad guy in this situation and everyone's coming for him. Maybe they don't like him on this show, but to say that it was homophobic, I know Michael Rappaport and he's far from
You
that. And I
you
think
never met that man.
I've never loved Colton though. Is that
Yeah,
what you mean?
like I want to. I will always choose the other person over Colton.
Oh,
Which,
always. Yeah, always.
well, I'm going to weigh in because I saw it on the show, and that is exactly what it looked like. It looked like Michael Rappaport was trying to call him out about hiding his sexuality. And we all know that coming out is a process and that it's a personal process, and we each do it in our own time. Now, don't Colton Underwood has a lot of issues, right? He did that whole thing as far as stalking his ex-girlfriend. He's
Right.
done some misogynistic things. Even on the show, he kind of, we had this whole discussion about Matt Rogers and choosing whiteness. He did the same thing to a black female player on the show, in my personal opinion. But I do
Interesting.
think, yeah. But I do think that he's got a lot going on. He's got a lot that he probably needs to look at and he needs therapy for. But I think Michael Rappaport is a true villain. I do. I think that he is like racist, honestly. And I think that he might
Really?
be a little bit, yeah. And he like is able to hide it, but it comes spewing out every now and then. So yeah, I think Michael is the real villain in this situation. And Colton
Okay, let us.
has his issues, but he's still, I think, a good person at heart.
Okay, you heard it. Well, maybe we'll have to start watching Jeremy a little
Girl,
bit. Maybe
it's
instead of the
juicy.
background, Jeremy, put it to the forefront. Who's watching it, by the way? Is Kevin watching it?
No.
Okay, it's just in the back. Got it.
You're like, no.
Okay, before we get to give advice, one really fun thing and one it's sad, but let's start with fun. Ricky Martin is hanging out with Hudson Williams in Milan, of all places, and the internet is bewitched. What did you think of this? Hudson Williams, of course, of Heated Rivalry, in Milan, Italy over the weekend, was invited to participate in the D2 runway show during Milan's Fashion Week. I have to hear from you, Jeremy.
Oh my God, I love it, and I'm living for it. I have always been a fan of Ricky, and of course now Heated Rivalry, and I saw that they sat side by side at the Armani show
I
in
mean,
Fashion Week, and they both look amazing, and yeah, I'm living for it. Whatever it is that it may be or has been.
well, come on, Hudson, it was entitled Pre-Show Dinner in Milan. I mean, that alone. Just if you ever I'm going to write this someday, you guys, and it's going to say Pre-Show Dinner in Milan before ... and you guys are going to be like gagging. Good food, better conversations, excellent seat neighbor. And that wasn't even written by Hudson Williams. It was written by Ricky Martin. So, I mean, my goodness, what do you say to this, Cody?
I live. I absolutely live. I love both of them. I hope they're recreating scenes from Heated Rivalry.
Yeah.
Because I want to watch that. I want to be involved in that. But I'll set up for watching. No, but they're probably just friends. And it's probably something that's very sweet. And, they're both, I feel like they're both good, genuine people. So, yeah, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, Diego came up to me the other day and showed me Ricky Martin's post, and he says Ricky Martin is living his best life right
And
now.
he looks so
And he was
good.
he looks so good, but he's like,
Always looks so good, and
well,
he's
it
always
wasn't even that it was look so good. Yes, of course, he looks amazing, but he was like in a sauna with this. Oh, with an OnlyFans model in a sauna, and posted that, and it was like, yeah, in Rio.
Send me that
of all
post,
places.
Diego.
But,
Guys, Ricky has always been living la vida loca.
I mean, my goodness, I love it. And then, of course, staying on fashion, the fashion lost a true innovator of all time. At 93, we lost Valentino.
Yeah.
Valentino Garavani, the legendary Italian fashion designer, died at 93.
Mm-hmm.
With his signature red dress, and founder of Valentino brand, died in Rome, where it all started for him, and how beautiful that is. But I mean, favorite moments of Valentino for you, Jeremy?
I mean, I worked for the company, and they were like really very innovative, and they just had beautiful clothes, and he was ahead of his time always, and I think he did live a long, beautiful life just from what you've seen. And he sold the brand but kept creative rights, and they've gone public and all of that. But he has really amazing museums in Italy that showcase a lot of the amazing gowns that he's designed over time.
Okay, so I figured out what my post will now be. Having a good food, better conversations, excellent neighbor on my way to a Valentino museum, which is probably what it'll be now.
That's your dedication?
Yes. Rest in power, Valentino.
Yes.
Thank you for giving us. And 93, come on.
Yeah.
That's almost
He did it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all the time we have. I could do this all night. Thank you so much. This is so amazing. You can always follow my co-host. Follow Jeremy on the gram at @JRossLopez. Follow Cody. Don't forget to get Thing of Beauty wherever you get your music. EP out now. Follow him on the gram and at Blue Sky at Mr. Maurice. Don't forget, we are streaming live listening party this Thursday, January 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A listening party, and go to tagspodcast.com or our Patreon page to get that link. And follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Lovely.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.
Hi, friends. We are Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Rubin Sowers, a married dad of 2.
And I am Judson Morrow, a resident daddy. Join us for frank conversations and personal stories of sex, love, relationships, parenthood, daddyhood, addiction, and so much more.
Find us on Instagram at Dads and Daddies Pod and listen to new episodes every Tuesday on all major platforms.